Hey guys, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but have you seen the climbing article, the rock climbing article about us? It is wild. It's turning out that our ascent of ElCapitan is like the most scrutinized, like ElCap ascent in like all of history. I mean, these guys, they have posted it like multiple times, and it's got like 500 or 600, hundreds and hundreds of comments from everybody out there, and it is just been wild. I get all these like messages and everything. I've been getting constant messages about it, and I thought I would just quickly address it here. There's some important aspects to address. One of the reasons it's getting so much attention is because there's a guy that joined our crew right at the end. Actually, I should say at the beginning. For us, it was kind of the end, but it was like the beginning of the wall where we're looking at these really heavy bags, and we meet this guy at the bottom who says he's an AMGA rock climber and says that he's climbed ElCapitan twice, and he's willing to help us haul our bags up. And so of course we're like, yeah, let's do it. So we hired this guy as a porter. His name is Rocco, and Rocco somehow took a call with Climbing Magazine's, kind of claiming that he was some kind of pirate guide. And what's crazy about that is that we didn't have any guides up there. We didn't need any guides up there. There was no one guiding. He wasn't guiding me. He certainly wasn't. I don't think he was guiding my kids. There was no. He never even interacted with our safety systems. His job was just to help us get the gear to the top. And so maybe he was guiding himself. But Rocco went on and he said, he basically took this interview where he says, I'm going under a fake name named Paul, and there's kind of this idea in the article that I'm like hiding everybody who came on this ascent with us, when that's not the case at all. We're not hiding anybody that came on the ascent with us. The reason why we didn't get a summit photo is because when we got to the top, we were within like pitch at the top. Later, our lines were already tagged to the summit at sunset, and boom, there's like these rangers stick their head over and they say the whole route is closed. There's a Yosar rescue. And so we had to kind of patiently wait for many hours on the summit, or like right before the summit, in the wind, kind of freezing there. And we were separated from our bags, so it was pretty rough, like to have the kids there and all. But if you see like the video of my kids coming over the summit, they are still tough as nails coming over that summit. And just, they had the absolute time of their life on the wall. But we never got that summit photo with everybody. And so I haven't posted about all the other people yet. I just haven't shared that. So there's just like all this conspiracy around this ascent. And there's like climbers who are acting like CSI, like doing research. And there's some guy that like went to all of our camps and was like looking for like, evidence or trash or something. But there's none of that. There's nothing ridiculous here happened. And we didn't need a guide because we had such an amazing team. I've seen one time Evan's post that says that less than 60% of the people make it to Dolt Tower. Well, we made it, and we made it to the summit. Now, when you're climbing with a 6 or a 7-year-old, it's not about like, did they lead every pitch or did they lead any pitches? The ethic we use in our house is just like, can you jug the wall? Can you carry your own backpack? And can you, be supportive at camp? Can you, that we have the kids cook and help me put together the portaledge and all of the fun aspects of being at camp. This is kind of what the ethic is when you're climbing with, a 6, 7, or 9-year-old on a wall. I do get that, like, when you have a kid on the wall, it definitely gets more scrutiny. That makes sense to me. But it's just not a reality where, like, the ethics should be I've got to lead the pitch and then yell down to my 6-year-old and be like, hey, on belay, come on up, jug the pitch. Like, that's just not a reality that is ever going to work on a fun ElCap ascent with my boys. But jugging ElCapitan is no joke. Teaching a 5-year-old or 6-year-old or 7-year-old, to jug is actually a really hard thing to do, but it creates like tremendous, discipline in them. It creates, all sorts of aspects of self-confidence for them. And you'll see that in my boys as you watch them. Okay, so point number 1, there were no guides on ElCap. And Rocco, who is going under an alias named Paul in the article, was also not a guide in any way that I would consider a guide. We were an awesome team. In fact, you probably could have done it without Rocco, but we did get it done, and he was up there. Okay, so some other points that I want to make to you. This one's really important to Joey, because for Joey, he particularly prides himself, and he talks about how many times he cried on a route or on a wall. And we are having a dispute between me and him. I think there was about maybe 5 times maybe he cried. He says that there was 4 times, but we're kind of having that dispute. We're working that out internally here, how many times. But one thing I'm for sure didn't happen is that Joey and Sylvan did not cry on every pitch. I don't know why Rocco said that to the press. That's such a weird thing to say, especially when his job was to haul gear and he didn't really interact with Joey on any of the pitches. He was there at each camp with us, but he was always on separate ledges than me and Joey and Sylvan. And so a lot of people want to know about the emotional health of my kids. And, crying a couple times on a wall is totally fine. It's like we want our kids to be able to cry. We want them to feel safe to be able to do that. It's unfortunate that when my kids have cried in the past, people assume, this is usually people that don't have kids, climbers that don't have kids, they assume that our kids they don't want to be there, that they want to come down. But that's not the case at all. Like, that doesn't mean they want to come down. Usually Joey was crying because he just peed on his pants, or he was crying because, he scraped his elbow. Like, it had nothing to do with him wanting to come down. And, if my kids want to come down, we'll just come down. Like, that's fine. We don't have to do it. But that is not the place where they were. They, on this ascent, neither boy wanted to come down. Sylvan cried one time on the ascent when he got some dirt in his eye. These are like normal things, and it's important to them, and that, that's put out there accurately. And I don't know why Rocco said they cried every pitch, but that definitely hurt us, and it definitely hurts them, and would hurt them in the future if people said that about them. And so wanted to fully address that. The other thing I want to address is this ascent was absolutely masterfully done. It was perfectly executed. We had an absolute ball on the wall. I look back at it with some amazing memories. And fortunately, we did bring one guy along who documented it really well. And so we have everything covered, and you'll see it come out like over time on my social media, on the page, like seeing how much amazing fun and fathering we had on the wall. When we're climbing a wall with kids, we keep these kids bolted to the wall the whole time. That's another layer of jugging. Like, you're jugging with kids, like they're bolted to the wall. The anchors, they're bolted to the wall. Actually, when our kids are under 5, we use carabiners that lock. They actually literally have a key lock to keep them bolted in. And so we are very cautious with kids. I've never taken the AMGA guiding exam, but I have taken the 10-day AMGA guiding course. And so I never wanted to be a guide. I just wanted to guide my own kids. And so if there was a guide up there, it was just me with my kids having the time of my life. Now, a couple other things really that I think Climbing Magazine missed is one, we got to have a birthday. Oh, there's a squirrel up here in the tree. I don't know if you can see it up there. But Blaze is excited to look at that. But I got to have a birthday with Joey on the wall, one that he will never forget, and that will be in our film as well. Some climbers literally like sang to him from the ground that we could hear up at our camp, and it was awesome. In 2021, Ann and I had a baby. I had a baby girl, and shortly after she was born, she passed away. And it was by far one of the most like life-changing events for us. It was terribly sad and painful, and yet it really was kind of like this reset button on our life. And it was the following year after that we became really intentional with our boys, that actually took Sam for the first time up ElCapitan. And at the time we were wrestling with this, but when Sam climbed ElCapitan the first time, our name was Baker. So if you look up any of the original ElCapitans, you see Joe Baker and Sam Baker. But it was because of that loss of our daughter Ember that we felt called to change our name, because we felt like we were different people after it. So we became the Evermores. And so after Sam had climbed El Cap, then he became, Sam Evermore and Joe Evermore and Ann Evermore. And that was this life-changing period for us. Well, on the wall of ElCapitan, we did a gender reveal, and it was something that was well anticipated. It was like Joey was most looking forward to learning whether he's having a brother or sister from the wall. And so on the wall, Ann brought out this giant banner, and she pulls a cover off of it, and from up there we could see the word girl. And Joey said, he says, pink has never been my favorite color, but on this mountain, pink is my favorite color. And if you look at any pictures of him, you'll see him wearing a pink bandana, some pink like bandanas on his arms. Like, he was so on Team Girl, so excited about having a sister, talking to me every night, cuddling in the portaledge, talking to me about how life's going to be different with a sister. And so that was one of those magical parts, to be able to, that was unveiled. I didn't know that I was having a sister, or I was having a daughter. The boys didn't know. The only person that knew was Ann. And so that was such a magical and amazing thing, and a part of this unique ascent. And so I want to address that too. And so there's lots of more things to address. But the last thing I want to share is, in the climbing community, one thing we've seen is, unfortunately, there's lots and lots of bullying. And if you read through the comments of different people, like in this, I want you to go and read through those comments. I want you to read how cruel some people are, how judgmental they are, and how these people don't know us. They barely know us. They are so insanely jealous of us. And the reason why they're jealous is because Sam has gotten more media coverage than almost every climber that isn't like the top of the level pro. And I want to address how that happened. The reason that happened is because the story of a father and son climbing ElCapitan is an amazing story. And it's a story that our culture and that our country loves to hear, loves to talk about, wants to know about. I can't help it that someone who does like a double naiad or does a link up of the 3 biggest walls in Yosemite, that they don't get on the front page news. They don't get like on the evening news of CNN. I think they should. I love climbing, and those are some of the most extraordinary feats. My feats aren't even remotely close to that. Like, I'm with kids like jugging a wall, which is really the easiest and the safest way to be on ElCapitan. I'm not an expert climber. I'm certainly not a pro of any kind. I'm just a dad who loves climbing with my boys, likes making some fun content with them, and loves trying to be with them on the weekends to do cool stuff. And that made a bunch of news. And I'm good at marketing. I'd be glad to help anybody get more press or work with the press or get some attention. But it's not my fault that like anybody that hasn't gotten media coverage when I have, and when my kids have. I wish they did. But to be honest, the ElCap kindergartner is a pretty cool story, as proven. Again, it's an awesome story. It's an awesome story because it's an unimaginable accomplishment. It's not just like people. It's funny how some people online want to call CPS, and other people want to say like, oh, it's like nothing. It's like going upstairs. It's like going up an elevator or being pulled up. No, it's not that. Anyone who says that has no idea what they're talking about. Like, jogging ElCapitan is a very difficult, very challenging thing to do. It's actually nearly impossible to get a kid to do it. And there's like less than like 10 kids that have done this, and like, I mean, under the age of 10. 3 of them are mine. And it's like, it's an extraordinary accomplishment. And the way you do that is you put a really good team together of great climbers, and you send it and you set it up so that the kids can jog really close to their dad. And that's all I've ever said I could do. And I'm sorry that other people haven't gotten as much press as me, but and as much, really as much as press as my kids, but that's not really my fault. And if you look through the comments, what you'll see is tremendous bullying in the climbing community. We have had people say the most awful things, the most slanderous things about us. We actually had one guy literally show up. You okay, Blaze? Come here. We actually had one guy literally show up at the cliff. And when he showed up at the cliff, he threatened my life. He threatened my life because I have a kid that's getting a bunch of attention online. And it was one of the craziest things. And there was a bunch of witnesses there. And and we did report it. But it was so crazy that could happen in the climbing community. But it's unfortunate. The climbing community has a lot of bullies. And if you look through the comments of that page, you will find bullies, people that write these long articles and of slander to us. And it's crazy. And other people, like, it's amazing how when we treat people so nicely on the wall, they don't say anything on the wall, but then when they get down, they become like these warriors that like they can get some attention by writing a bad thing about us. And maybe that's the last thing I'll address, is that when we are on the wall, we always gave everybody else the right of way. We knew we had a big team, and so we let one guy, like, we say, hey, well, if you want to be on the side of the camp, we'll set some ropes for you. You could jug those ropes if you want, if that helps you. And that was one way to help them. But anybody that has a smaller team than us had the right of way on our ascent. And and if Climbing Magazine wants to interview the other teams up there, I'm sure they will all testify to that. We didn't block anybody. If there's any kind of like, oh, we might be in your way, we just like let them go. And so that was our policy. And so there's probably more to address, but this is where I'm just going to start. We'll see. More articles come out. We'll see what people say. We'll see how much more bullying happens. But I thought I would just make it clear. I'm also going to be putting together some more videos from other members of our team as well, so you can meet our team and hear more of the story. And, this is going to be exciting. This is by far the most scrutinized and followed ElCap ascent that I've ever seen. And so thank you all. Thank you all for cheering for us, for being allies with us, and most of all for celebrating Joey Danger, Sylvan Lightyear, and Sam Adventure on these unbelievable ascents that they have. And more is coming. All right, guys. See ya.